The other thing that I see all the time is that when you're scaling in e-commerce, most of the time you don't have very good reporting analytics. You don't have very good control of inventory. And when you move into a virtual warehouse, you have an online platform where you're able to get real-time SKU counts. You're able to see reports on a monthly basis of your input and your output, and you're able to see exactly all your tracking numbers going inbound and outbound. And most virtual warehouses nowadays have direct connection with all common carriers on outbound orders. So you can, via APIs, connect, integrate, and automate a lot of your processes to avoid manual data entry. And they do this for you for free because they do this at scale, right? So it's a win-win. Hey, transportation community, this is Luis Lopez, aka the Freight Guru. And today on episode 29, we're going to be talking about the top 5 ways to move into a virtual warehouse if you're in the e-commerce business. So, you know what? Today's gig economy is big on e-commerce. And traditionally, a lot of e-commerce has been done by home or by you going out and creating your own warehouse distribution center, hiring your own people, and managing your own warehouse. But it's really hard to scale e-commerce, manage your sales process, manage your online e-commerce store, and then also manage the back office e-commerce warehouse distribution. So 5, 7, even 10 years ago, a lot of e-commerce companies decided to outsource it and scale that out to third-party companies that focused specifically on providing that type of service. And that gig economy of scaling e-commerce into a service of providing that service separated itself, where small e-commerce outfits that actually did small bits of e-commerce online on Instagram, on Facebook, could now go and outsource that e-commerce, right? And scale their business without even needing a back office support, right? They could do that digitally. So first thing I want to do now is talk about what exactly is e-commerce, what is a virtual warehouse, and how you can combine these two things together to scale your business. So what exactly is e-commerce in today, 2020? E-commerce is the buying and selling of goods and services over the internet. Guys, the internet is not going anywhere. It's only getting stronger. And today's millennials are realizing that they can go on social media platforms, find really interesting products, advertise them, right? Be brand ambassadors for those products and sell them online. But they want to sell that product and scale that product. They don't want to manage the online headaches of reverse logistics, back office support, labor, insurance, workers' compensation, renting a warehouse. They want to separate themselves from that, right? Because if you're in sales and you're in the business of managing a product and trying to grow that product into millions of dollars of revenue, it's really hard to also manage the back office of getting those orders out every day. So why have 10, 15, 20 warehouses all across the country when you can go to a warehouse distributor that does that in scale and be anywhere you want on social media, advertising those products, and then having that back office that you're paying per transaction managing your virtual warehouse? It's a dynamic and very interesting model because you're paying as you scale compared to paying for fixed costs, right? So it's a really, really interesting way of growing and scaling your e-commerce business without having a lot of upfront fixed costs, right? Most e-commerce companies start off at home. So they start off the opposite way, where you start off at your garage, you start off at home in your apartment, right? And you start off in that small space where you're actually packing, picking, and getting orders to your local FedEx and UPS. But then you get to a point where you've outgrown your apartment, garage, and you can't get orders out quick enough and on time, or you can't get your FedEx carrier to get to your apartment to pick up the 150 boxes. And now you need to find somewhere that'll get you those orders out that day or within 24 hours so that your customers can get those orders within the 2-day or 1-day periods that you guarantee them on all these platforms. And it's incredible now, all the different verticals that you can sell on. You have Amazon, you have social media, you have Facebook, you have Craigslist. You have so many different platforms that you can sell your products on. And if you advertise them properly, you can connect them via shopping carts and you can really scale, right? And you can be your own brand ambassador, or you can also hire other brand ambassadors to create content to scale your products. So it's a really interesting time to be considered part of this new gig economy where you can really believe in a product and scale that product as really as big as you want to, right? So what is in e-commerce drop shipping, right? Because that's a big terminology that a lot of e-commerce companies will talk to you about as you scale and start drop shipping into their warehouse distribution center. Drop shipping refers to when the product's manufacturer controls the entire supply chain, including producing, storing, and shipping items. When a customer places an order online, the manufacturer ships the item directly from their factory to the consumer. So the merchant never handles inventory. So this is another interesting way to scale your products, where a manufacturer, right, will not only allow you to buy in bulk, but also will white label the product, will ship the product to your end user, right, and package that product for you based on whatever white labeling requirements that you have determined when you set the bulk packaging volume requirements at the beginning of your contract. So those are also different ways of you building a brand and creating scalability, right? The only caveat to this now is, as COVID has occurred, drop shipping has become more difficult because the pandemic has caused massive delays in international shipping, where you'll now see 3, 6, 12-month lead times in Trans-Pacific. So this has caused a bottleneck in what used to be a very dynamic and an easier way to do on-time logistics, where you could, in theory, do a lot more drop shipping and more on-time logistics and avoid having inventory, which caused you to spend more money upfront in inventory, right? So now you have to think about storing inventory and being more dynamic and having more distribution centers located around your customers and being more of a regional player in e-commerce, where I think the market's going to long term, where you're going to have to be a regional player and having last mile delivery partners where, similar to Amazon Prime, you can provide same day delivery from your website, same day, that day, to a 50-mile radius from where that customer is located without actually going onto Amazon. And I think that will happen the next 3 to 5 years, not even shopping on Amazon, right? In order to start competing with Amazon. And I think last mile delivery will be able to do that on people's specific website, which I think will be a game changer long term. And you can do that using Magento, Shopify, and connecting with third-party virtual warehouses, which I think will be a very competitive advantage for local warehousing, but it will also make local warehousing scarce in all major cities across the United States. Now I'm going to give you the 5 reasons why I think you should stay away from building your own warehouse distribution center and scaling to a virtual warehouse, because ultimately the first thing I think when it comes down to it is it's just way too expensive, right? Like when it comes down to e-commerce, unless you have absolute massive scalability, warehousing is just simply too expensive. When I think about warehousing, I think about 5 major components that make warehousing very, very costly. First thing is labor. There's massive labor shortage all across the country, and labor rates are only going up. Unemployment's at an all-time high. People simply just don't want to work, and finding labor is expensive. You're going to have to pay people a lot of money in order to drive forklifts, and that's going to take hourly rates. Hourly rates are only going to go up, so you have to take that into account. And unless you have a lot of volume, you're probably not going to be able to justify those hourly rates in order to compensate for having your own warehouse. Second thing is going to be insurance costs. You need to think about cargo insurance. You need to think about workers' compensation. You need to think about general liability policy, right? These are all standard insurance policies that you need in order to run a warehouse, okay? Thirdly, you need equipment. You need a forklift. You need racking, right? Fourth thing, you need a warehouse management system. You're going to need some kind of operating system that will connect to your shopping cart so that you can keep proper inventory control in your warehouse. Because you guys know better than anybody that the moment you lose control of inventory is the moment you lose control of your, essentially, of your bank account. You lose control of what you have in cash, because you can have shrinkage, and shrinkage equals loss of revenue, because you're not going to have the same amount of inventory you were expecting to have, which equal loss of revenue, okay? The final thing that's super important, you're going to need to have customer service and management to manage the labor that is pulling and picking pack orders. So it's a massive operation for your e-commerce, and all this is going to equal cost. And if those costs don't equal revenue output in pick and pack, and there's downtime there, right? You're going to have probably more costs going out than coming in on your e-commerce. So the great thing about virtual warehouses, you're paying a fixed fee per transaction. You don't have to worry about insurance and, labor and forklift fees and all those things that come with running a warehouse. You also don't have to worry about having multiple warehouses across the country. You can dictate where you put your freight based on where your demand is, based on your reports of where your customers are ordering from. So you can pick and choose where you have freight located as well, right? So that's a great advantage to a virtual warehouse. You can pivot and be much more dynamic. I also think, because when I talk to customers, a lot of the times they're like, Louis, I'm working out of my garage. I have complete control. I always tell them, you're never too small to outsource. You're actually able to build an SOP, which is called a system of procedures, when you're small enough. And I highly recommend, when you are building an e-commerce platform and you're looking to scale your business, make sure you go to a virtual warehouse and have a system of procedures. Every product has a different scope of work. You don't want to ask for rates without allowing that virtual warehouse to know what your expectations are. Are you expecting to have all your orders fulfilled the same day? Are you allowing that warehouse based on the rate that you're looking for to fulfill orders within 24 hours, right? Everybody's going to be different. And maybe your contract with Wayfair or Amazon is going to allow for an 8-hour turnaround on pick and pack. Well, if it's 8 hours compared to 4 hours for pick and pack, the rate's going to be able to be justified based on those turnarounds for pick and pack, right? So have a system of procedures, very simple one-page document where you can send to these virtual warehouses or ask them for a questionnaire that you can fill out so that we're all talking the same language, and that when you request a RFQ or request for a quote, that you get back a rate sheet that's going to match the services that you're requesting, not a generic rate request that's going to be later on changed based on new service requirements that you are going to define at a later date and time, right? Another thing that I see all the time is that you're never going to really be able to compete with the virtual warehouses that have scaled and that are shipping thousands of boxes on a daily basis. Virtual warehouses that have thousands of boxes going out on a daily basis have UPS, FedEx, FedEx Freight, and YRC, all the major carriers showing up every day on routine times to pick up. Where if you are working out of your garage or you're working out of your apartment, you need to schedule a pickup online for the UPS man or the FedEx gentleman to come and pick up your packages. The virtual warehouses across the country, like ShipBob, ShipMonk, Sunship, all these warehouses across the country, they have set schedules with all major carriers on a daily basis. You do not need to reach out to them. They will ship your product at 11, 1 o'clock, whatever their standard pickup times are. If the packages are ready, they're going to just deliver it to the carrier as long as that carrier matches whatever's on the bill of lading. So you are going to get your packages dropped off. If it's going to go to Amazon or if it's going to go to UPS, it's going to be done based on their regular routine shipment. Obviously, if you're paying for a hot shot or you're paying for guaranteed delivery, then that UPS delivery man will come and do an additional trip to that warehouse anyways. But these 100,000, 150,000 square foot warehouse facilities have dedicated times on a daily basis for routine shipments to pick up. The other thing that I see all the time is that when you're scaling in e-commerce, most of the time you don't have very good reporting analytics. You don't have very good control of inventory. And when you move into a virtual warehouse, you have an online platform where you're able to get real-time SKU counts. You're able to see reports on a monthly basis of your input and your output, and you're able to see exactly all your tracking numbers going inbound and outbound. And most virtual warehouses nowadays have direct connection with all common carriers on outbound orders. So you can, via APIs, connect, integrate, and automate a lot of your processes to avoid manual data entry. And they do this for you for free because they do this at scale, right? So it's a win-win, right? They're doing this to be more efficient, and you get to win because you're coming on board and you're bringing value by being one of their customers. Less stress and time. I think that if you're going to scale and grow a business in revenue and you have great branding, a great product, you have to focus on building your brand and building your product. You got to focus on being in social media, doing great marketing, improving your website, improving the brand. It's really hard to improve your brand and also focus on the back office and all the challenges that come with managing people. Allow your virtual warehouse to manage your back office and manage the output and meet the deadlines of the orders and the timelines of those orders coming in and out. Allow them to be accountable for what you're paying them to do, right? Which is to get your orders out on a timely basis and to manage your returns coming in so that you can focus on growing your brand, growing your business, and getting your revenue up, right? And with social media today, you can do that from anywhere, and you can go online and procure new warehouses all across the country as you scale your business. I want to provide you guys the top 10 e-commerce products that I see to sell for 2021. The first thing I want to talk about is books on politics, natural feminine care products, natural pet care, disinfectant products, boutique rugs, organization helpers, smart speakers, eco-friendly versions of everyday products. Now I ask, well, Lewis, that's great. Yeah, these products are great, but how do I find these products in order to be able to sell them? Well, the reality is there's a lot of great sites that you can go on, and you can actually find wholesalers internationally or even in the United States that sell these products in bulk. And these are the top 10 sites that sell in bulk: Alibaba, Orbello, Doba, Salehu, Wholesale 2B, Printify, Redbubble, Worldwide Brands. Guys, I've been doing warehouse distribution and transportation domestically in the United States for over 15 years. And to be honest with you, I've seen massive growth in final mile and first mile delivery in the past 7 to 10 years. And it's only growing. I've also seen container drayage imports into the United States dramatically grow in the past 5 years. I don't see e-commerce fading away anytime soon. I only see it growing. Without saying any more, I think it's only time before regional warehouses become more and more prominent, right? With that being said, warehouse distribution and final mile delivery to end users is going to be something that's going to only grow. Virtual warehouses and scaling virtual warehouses is something that I think for the future is a great partnership if you're in e-commerce. Guys, if you like what I've said today and you think that it's something that interests you, please subscribe to the link below and let me know what you think. Love for you guys to give me some comments on how I can improve your business. Please stay tuned for next week on how I can help you grow your business. This is the Freight Guru signing out. Take care.